Okay, looks like we're going live now. Youts, Nuh Ab T. Hello, my name is Ab, and welcome to islak live stream. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm just going to do a quick systems check here to make sure that everything is running okay. So I'm doing a simulcast where I'm broadcasting to Facebook and also to the YouTube channel here for islak. So it looks like it's running on Facebook. I'm just going to quickly check the Facebook page and see if the video is showing up there. Just want to make sure that everything is working fine, everything is okay. So it looks like everything is okay, so that's good. So I'm going to do something a little bit different with today's live stream. Might be a bit shorter today. So I'm just going to switch to a different screen here. So this basically is where I want to introduce you to Hank T. So I have a little graphic here set up that introduces him. And if you're watching the YouTube video right now, you'll probably notice Hank T's head in the bottom right-hand corner. If I have everything set up properly, that's what you will see, but only on the Facebook video. It's not going to show up on the YouTube video. It's not going to show up on the Facebook stream that I'm doing right now. And I'm just going to switch to a different screen here. I have something prepared, a document that I wanted to go through here. So I would like you to meet Hank T. So he was created to illustrate the vocal tract. So the vocal tract is basically everything that is included in speaking, all of the parts of your mouth and your throat and everything in between that you use to make sounds. So in the islak language, there are very unique sounds, and that requires that you use very unique parts of your vocal tract that you normally wouldn't use in English. So I came up with this idea of doing an illustration, and this actually came from two linguists that came up here to work with us a few years ago. Their names are Patricia Shaw and Fiona Campbell. They did some workshops with us, and they basically explained some of the language from a linguistic standpoint and taught us how to read Emma Bach's second orthography, his writing system, the last writing system that he used. And they showed us something that was similar. I'm just going to go back to the title screen here. So they showed us something that was similar to what I have here. And it's basically a layout of the head, and it shows all the different parts of the vocal tract. So what you see here on the screen is basically just Hank T on his own. So I'm just going to switch to a different screen here. I'm going to go back to my PDF document. So what I came up with was this. So I have the design for Hank T, and also show all the different parts of the vocal tract. So these are all parts of your mouth and everything else that you use to make sounds in the islak language. So this is a diagram or a guide that I came up with to show how the sounds are made. So starting from here, you have your lips. So these are used to create what we call labial sounds. When you hear me talk about labial sounds, they're sounds that involve the use of your lips. You're opening and closing your lips to make sounds. You have your teeth, which are involved in some of the sharper sounds, like the letter S, the S sound. is mostly what you're using to direct air out of your mouth. This one is a very unique part of your vocal tract. So you have your upper front teeth here, and then there's a bump. That bump is called the alveolar ridge. So those are involved in sounds like and dla and tla and tl. And even just regular English sounds like l, l. Those are all what we call lateral sounds, and they involve putting the tip of your tongue, the back of the tip of your tongue, against this alveolar ridge. You have your nasal cavity, so there's some sounds where air is directed up through your nasal cavity and it kind of bounces around inside of the nasal cavity and creates more of a resonant sound. So letters like and even something like ya kind of starts off as a resonant sound, where some of the sound is coming up through your nostrils, some of it's coming out through your mouth. So that's where your nasal cavity is involved. Sometimes you're directing air up through your nose, sometimes it's through your nose and your mouth at the same time. The roof of your mouth, in the very middle, the hard part of it is called the palate, sometimes called the hard palate. So with palatal sounds, what's happening is your tongue is coming up. So the top of your tongue comes up close to your palate, and it kind of directs air out through your mouth, through there. Your velum is a little bit further back, and it's what you call the soft palate. So these are sounds that are similar to palatal sounds, but they're a little bit further back. And then you have your uvula. These are very deep sounds, and your uvula is the little piece of skin that's hanging from the back of your throat. And then down below, what you'll notice is that I'm moving from the front of the vocal tract to the back. So we started with our lips, which are at the front of the vocal tract. Now we're going past the uvula, which is towards the back. Next we have the pharynx, which is an open space between your voice box and your mouth and your nasal cavity. It's just an open space to direct air. And then down below there you have your larynx. Another word for larynx is voice box. And then in the middle of your voice box, this opening here is called the glottis. So you've probably heard me talk about glottal stops, because we have a lot of glottal stops in islak. And when you make a glottal stop, you're basically closing your vocal cords. You're closing your glottis. And that's responsible for a lot of the kind of pauses in the Haisla language. Any word that has a pause in the middle of it, that is a glottal stop. And that's how you make them, is by closing your glottis. And then you have your trachea, which is your windpipe, and it just directs air from your lungs up to your voice box. So this was the idea that I had. We were shown a couple of examples from other nations. One was a Kwagilth version, and I think another one was Coast Salish. So we were encouraged to come up with our own diagram. So I whipped this up in my computer graphic program, and after I finished developing this, I thought, what if I gave this guy a name? I think he should have a name, so what could I call him? So I'm going to switch back to my PDF document here, or to my other tab in my PDF document. So his name, Hank T, actually has a double meaning. So it sounds like Heichti. Heichti in Haislakyala means head. So that's what he is. He's a head. Plain and simple. That's basically the diagram. That's what he represents, a human head. So I thought there was a correlation between Heichti and Hank T. So that's one of the meanings. And Hank T also means called Hank in Haislakyala. So if somebody said Angueli, that would mean who is that over there? And to answer that, you would say Hank T. That would mean he's called Hank. So thus was born Hank T. And he has very much become the mascot of the Heisla hybrid orthography. So you've seen him in the thumbnails for the live stream videos, and there were other recorded videos where I had him in the thumbnails, and he appears in a lot of different places. So he's become very much the mascot for the hybrid orthography. So that is Hank T, and where his purpose, where he comes from, things like that. So I'm going to move down in my PDF document here. So I'm going to do the feature that I call How Do You Say It? And this is where I take a look at Heisla words that sometimes are mispronounced, and I'll show you the accurate pronunciation for those words. So the first one is egʷe. egʷe. The way you can think of this, it's basically three different parts. So you have gwunk, and then you have si. Si says si, and then wa. Gwunk, si, wa. I can't really. It's a little bit too hard to highlight those in my PDF document here, but this is what we refer to as Europeans or white people, for lack of a better term. Gwunksiwa. And the second word in this How Do You Say It feature is oksuli. Oksuli. So again, you can think of it in three parts. Oksuli. Pay special attention to this middle syllable here, because it can be very easy to miss this oo sound. Su, oksuli. And this is a plant that is very important to Heisla culture and other Northwest Coast cultures. It's sometimes called Indian hellebore, and I tend to avoid the word Indian in reference to our people. So I just call it hellebore. So when you hear oksuli, that's what it's referring to as hellebore. So that's it for How Do You Say It? And the last feature here is wow, which is the word of the week. And today's word of the week is egʷe. And this is the word for suitcase. You might not have known that we have a word for suitcase in the Heisla language, but we do. And it's egʷe, suitcase. Okay, so I'm switching back to my camera, and I'm just going to take a quick look at my streams here, the Facebook page. I'm just checking to see if there's comments, and I'm not seeing any comments on the Facebook page there. And I'm just going to quickly check the live stream. I'm just going to basically just refresh that. I hesitate to actually click on the live stream because it's going to start playing the audio for it. So maybe I'll do that, and I'll just mute it as quickly as I can. So I'm doing this off screen because you can't really see what I'm doing here. Just seeing if there's any comments or questions that people might have. And so I'm opening up the live stream on YouTube here just to take a quick check. And actually, I think I'll pause it. That might be easier. Just so I'm not having the stream happening stream playing at the same time it's actually happening. So I'm not seeing any comments there, so that's fine. That's okay. So that's it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope the information that I passed along here to you is helpful to you. I'm trying to help people understand the language as best I can. So thank you for watching. Remember, learning is its own reward. Egʷe. Wa.